Okay, which one of these three elements will have the smallest radius? More protons pulling in the valence shell. Electrons. And the reason I asked about the valence shell, are they all on the same ring? The answer is yes. So shielding is not a factor, right? They're getting blocked by the same two electrons. The electron that hydrogen has and the two electrons that helium has. They're both there. So 1, 2, both of them are on that inner shell. So, because they only have one ring that's full in front of them, between them and the nucleus, shielding is not a factor. And that, my friends, is a complete answer. Who's the biggest and why? The more energy levels an atom has, the further it is from the nucleus. Therefore, so the more energy levels an atom has, the further it is from the nucleus. Therefore, it feels the positive pull from the nucleus the weakest. So therefore, it feels the positive pull from the nucleus the weakest. Due to distance and shielding. So the inner electrons are blocking that positive pull, and it's far away. So the stronger the pull, the closer you are. So if you can't feel that pull very, very well, you are further out. So that's what happens as you go down the periodic table. Sodium, vanadium, and chlorine. Who's the smallest? Back it up. Okay. So make sure you back up your statements, but please, 1 or 2 sentences, not a paragraph, not an essay. When a metal forms an ion, they lose electrons. Therefore, they become positive. We call positive ions cations. Okay, positive ions. An ion is an atom that is gained or lost electrons. So an ion is something that has gained or lost electrons, so it's either a positive or negative. So positive ions we call cations. An easy way to remember it is the T makes a plus sign, okay? So cations. So a metal like lithium here's your atom. So when it forms an ion, it's going to lose that electron. Metals want to empty their valence shell because they're more stable that way. So what you form is the ion, and it's lithium 1 plus, plus because it lost, 1 plus because it lost 1 electron. So you can see it loses a valence shell. So metals get smaller. Metals get smaller when they form ions. So metallic ions get smaller. You lose the valence shell. You will lose as many valence electrons as you have. Beryllium will want to lose how many electrons? Beryllium. Christian? It's going to want to lose its 2. If it loses 1, it's not stable. It can form a beryllium 1 plus ion, but it won't last long. It's going to want to give it up. Matt?
Okay, so like it doesn't matter how many electrons are in the valence shell, metals will always want to empty them?
Yeah, always. You actually have to put energy in order to force it to take an electron. You can do it, but it takes a lot of energy. Talking noble gases here because they don't like to form ions, bless you. Nonmetals tend to gain electrons. So we call them anions because they are negatively charged ions. Negatively charged ions. So fluorine. Fluorine wants to gain an electron to fill its octet, to fill its valence shell of 8 electrons. Okay, that's why nonmetals gain, because they complete their outer ring. How many will oxygen want? Christian? It's going to want 2 more. So it's negative because it gained electrons. How many it gains tells you the charge number. So fluorine 1 minus, oxygen is O2 minus. Now, what happens here is the radius gets bigger. So the size increases. Size will increase. And the reason that it increases is because even though it got another electron, it still has the same number of protons. So that 9 for fluorine is still felt by all of them, but that added electron takes up more space. So they actually start to push back. There's electron repulsion. Electron repulsion is greater than the positive electron attraction. Is it this that's in the way?
Yeah.
Okay. I've asked for them to build me a shelf. Or move up my smart card. Okay. So the electron repulsion is greater than the proton-electron attraction. The more electrons you add, the bigger the repulsion. So if you look at your periodic table, if you look at group 17, if you look at group 17 on that chart that I gave you, the ions are smaller than the group 16. The group 16 is smaller than the group 15. So everybody find nitrogen on the periodic table. Put your finger on it. How many blocks away is it from neon? Kyla? 3. So it needs 3 electrons to be isoelectronic with neon. Isoelectronic means the same number of electrons. So it needs 3 electrons. It's added 3, but it still only has those 7 protons. So it's got 3 more electrons. It's got 10 electrons, 7 protons. It's big. Oxygen, 2 blocks away from neon, so it needs 2 more electrons, less electron repulsion than nitrogen. So the more electrons you add, the bigger you are, because electron repulsion is greater than the proton-electron attraction to the nucleus, okay? Make sense?